morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from worldwide. I'm Sterling. It's great to have you back on the channel. This show is being recorded for Sunday, June 9th, 2024. As always, these shows are provided for entertainment purposes only. All the information I share with you comes directly real time through my guides, angels, extended spiritual counsel, ETs, famous people from history, so for entertainment purposes only. Also, for those who need to reach me, just go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com. Look for the book a session tab. I think there's dates available in December, January, and February now going into 2025. And as always, if you'd like to join the membership, those join membership links are on the homepage of the website and our YouTube channel. And we do live streaming on Fridays for all the platinum members. So welcome, everybody. Great to have you back on the show. For those who have been following the channel for a while, you know that every time you reach a new level of 1,000 subscribers, we give away a free half-hour session with myself. And we just crossed over 50,000 subscribers on the last show. So as always, we randomly pick, using a computer app, the winner of the free half-hour session with myself. And those are always selected from the comments that start off with the word love. That's how we know you want to be in the contest. This, by the way, is the final half-hour session giveaway that we'll be doing now that we've reached 50,000 subscribers, giving away well over 50 half-hour sessions. This will be the last and final giveaway. So the winner at 50,000 subscribers of the free half-hour session is Barbara Armstrong 4326. That's BARBARA ARMSTRONG 4326. So congratulations go to Barbara. Barbara, just reach out to our office team, send an email to info@sterlingpsychicmedium.com, give them your time zone and your preferred callback number for the session, as well as your preferred email address. Then they'll get you all set up. So congratulations and go to Barbara. And without any further delay, let's get going on the show today. Again, being recorded here for June 9th, 2024. So question 59. Hello, Sterling. In 1993, I saw a UFO or UAP. I really don't understand completely what I witnessed on that day. I walked outside in the evening to check my mail, and above me was a rectangular metallic object the size of two large houses. It had orange and green lights and made obviously or absolutely no sound at all. It was moving at about 5 miles per hour above the treetop line. At that time, I lived near an airport and wondered if it was some sort of experimental aircraft. The next day, many people were calling in to my favorite radio station to report the same sighting, so I knew I wasn't crazy. I would love your thoughts on what this may have been, or was it a flying slowly above my neighborhood? You know, this comes across to me from my team as what they call a Palladian mothership. They use anti-gravity propulsion systems, which our government and Air Force is very aware of right now. But they don't make any sound whatsoever, but they're able to propel very large ships. And it looks like you're probably near a military installation, so maybe not just an airport, but a military installation. The motherships usually don't come around conventional airports for the most part. Very rare that they do, but around military installations. So it looks like you witnessed what's called a Palladian mothership. They've also been reverse engineered by many governments around the world. So there are cruder versions of Palladian motherships. And you can tell by kind of the roughness of the build, so to speak. The ones that are more refined looking, metal finishing and whatnot, those are the ones that are actually coming from the Palladians, and the ones that the militaries create are a little rougher looking. 58. Hi, Sterling and team. Will most Americans be shocked at the depth and breadth of corruption, greed, and criminal activity among GOP members, Republicans, in 5 or 6 years after more has been revealed about direct ties to Russia, finance, offshore financing, exchange of classified documents with foreign countries, and Putin's interference in the U.S. elections? How will America recover from this? Well, America will take this as a learning lesson that you can never take democracy for granted. So it's going to take many years for everybody to kind of restore their comfort level, but it's going to happen. This is there's always opposing forces, if you will, in everything in nature in the universe. So it's always kind of bad and good and whatnot. So this is really this whole experience really pointed out to a lot of people. You can't take democracy for granted. You have to be very proactive and active in it every day. And the big learning lesson, the history books will show how the country almost, went off a cliff, but did not. 57. Will the two GOP or Republican members appointed to the Intelligence Committee, Ronnie Jackson and Scott Perry, by House Speaker Mike, cause irreparable damage? I see they're going to contribute to some chaos, but it won't be irreparable damage. What I see is that there are a lot of what I call adults in the room, or adults that really know how to manage the intelligence committee. I mean, obviously, one of the things they do is they grant security clearances, but I do see them even trying to trip up some of the intelligence members. That is, the adults in the room, the more responsible individuals, and even providing sometimes information that's not correct to see where leaks are, how information is being leaked. So I see them helping to create a little bit of chaos, but nothing that's going to endanger the country specifically. It's all part of a lot of chaos going on behind the scenes that we're seeing every day play out on the news, from a right-wing party that's gone rogue. They're completely rogue and unrecognizable from what they were. 56 in the countdown. Hi, Sterling. Will Aileen Cannon be successful in shutting down Jack Smith and the documents case? No, I won't be able to shut it down permanently. She'll be removed within a few months here, something of that nature, by another group of district judges that Jack Smith is going to work with. So they'll eventually, within a couple of months here, that documents trial will get split into two different trials. There'll be kind of the current set of documents and new set of documents that were discovered. But no, she won't be able to shut it down. However, that particular trial, I've never seen that documents trial starting before the election, but it'll start after the election in 2025. 55. Hi, Sterling and team. Fox News is peddling a narrative that Biden's recent health checkup shows signs of mental decline, leaving staffers close to him concerned. Is there any truth to this, or is it another page turning in Fox's book of lies? This is just another attempt to cause confusion and chaos and do what they call a dust up. So no truth in this. I can just tell you from my team directly, no truth that there's a mental decline or whatnot. But this is just a lot of what I call slinging mud at the wall, and they're doing an awful lot of it over on that network for entertainment purposes only. 54. Are extraterrestrial children or babies independent at birth, like the animal kingdom, walking right away, eating, etc., or like human babies, constantly crying, totally dependent on their mothers for everything? Most all extraterrestrial species require immediate attention for the first number of months of life into the kind of the first year. They do require a lot of ongoing attention, but they do then mature much faster. So if you get past the first year of a lot of extraterrestrials, they almost are more like the maturity level of like a 10-year-old or 11-year-old. So they ramp much faster, but they do need kind of constant attention when they're first born. 53. Hi, Sterling and team. Do you see Josh Stein winning for governor of North Carolina over candidate Mark Robinson? Yes, I see Josh Stein winning the election in November. And interestingly enough, whatever's going on with this other candidate, Mark Robinson, is kind of I'm going to say it's kind of like in fantasy land. Whatever he's saying, my team was just saying the guy's really kind of off his rocker. It's like there's a lot of fantasy going on there. I don't know all the details, but they're saying anyway that Josh Stein will be the winner. 52. Have the MAGA GOP elite developed some sneaky plan for stealing the 2024 election? Well, yes, many plans, but they'll be defeated in terms of a lot of the things that were tried last time with the false electors and people manipulating the voting and ballots and whatnot. And actually, all that's under much stricter auditing and much stricter controls. And there's almost now a playbook now with the federal government of all the ways the election could be gone bad or stolen, and they've actually kind of monitoring a lot of these areas. So, yeah, there's much more stricter audit procedures coming up, and sure, they're going to try some things, but won't be successful. 51, hello, Sterling and team. It was announced that Judge Aileen Cannon expanded the hearing on 45's request to declare special counsel's appointment invalid. What will be the outcome of her decision? Will Jack Smith be removed as special counsel? No, I don't see Jack Smith being removed. I've talked about that many times on these shows. He's going to stay in there for the long haul. He'll be on the case for the long run. But Aileen Cannon, just with a couple of months here, looks like she'll get moved aside again in a combination of Jack Smith and a lot of like district judges, of the 11th district or whatever this is, will actually come up with some sort of a plan to move her aside and get her expelled or whatever. This is removed from the case. 50. Does Lucas Kunz, looks like, have a chance to win Josh Hawley's Senate seat in Missouri? Yes, it appears Lucas Kunz will win the seat. 49. Do you see small modular reactors, SMRs, being a solution for the world's energy needs and climate change? And if so, how soon will it happen? Will we have enough uranium? No, I don't see small modular reactors actually being a big factor at all. There's other more efficient ways of generating power. Within 3 decades, approximately, we'll really start to see the induction of what's called cold fusion in terms of nuclear power. But so small modular reactors won't ever really play out. As we go many decades into the future, there is new power technology coming, the size of a postage stamp, very, very small. But that's leagues now ahead of even when we get past like cold fusion. So yeah, no, it doesn't look like SMRs are going to be a big factor in power. 48. Some women are marrying later in life. Will CRISPR technology be used to increase viability in eggs of older women? Yes, I mean, CRISPR gene editing technology will be used in all aspects of the human existence, supporting Homo sapiens sapiens, the entire spectrum of everything that we're going through here medically. Remember, everything does get down to DNA and genes, and so gene editing, you can actually develop prescriptions to help the body, the human body in any way that's required. Now, regarding this particular question here, viability of eggs in older women, that's going to be like 10, 15 years out, something of that nature. And the reason is there's a lot of cancer treatments being worked on now and Alzheimer's involving CRISPR. So the fertility things that are coming up around CRISPR gene editing can be a little bit, they'll be pushed out. So there's kind of a order of prominence, if you will, of the way that the science community is going after, and then, mass manufacturing and monetizing the medications that are CRISPR based. So yeah, it's coming, but that one's pushed out past like the things that will be done for pancreatic cancer and Alzheimer's and breast cancer, they're telling me. 47, Sterling and team, do you see electricity prices going down? Maybe solar or some other form of electricity in the next 20 years. This person says, I live in the state of Illinois. I do see power companies steadily starting to decrease charges for power about 1 to 2% a year. So something about green technology coming on and federal government support, they're showing me kind of a very gradual decline, about 1 to 2% a year. So it's very gradual, but you'll see some reduction. 46, do you see the new border control tactics put in place by Biden this week being very successful? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I see them being highly successful at kind of regulating what's going on now at the border, giving some sort of controls until more resources are put down there in terms of judges to review, claims for sovereignty or for immigration status. So it looks like it's going to be highly successful in kind of gating the flow until more resources can be put down there. So yeah, it looks like it. My team's saying that it's going to have a good effect on kind of now regulating a little bit better, kind of balancing the number of border crossings with the number of resources that are there right now. 45. Hello, Sterling and team. Will Biden's decision to sign the executive order to shut down the border, this is almost the same question, if illegal crossings exceed 3,500, have a negative or a positive effect on his reelection? I see it, it's a little bit different question. I see it having a complete positive effect as more like good, effective management and of the border. We all have to manage, every nation, every country needs to kind of manage their borders in a very responsible way. So it looks like it'll have overall a positive effect on the election for him, for Biden. 44, hi Sterling and team. Will movie theaters survive as streaming takes over? Well, no, unfortunately, as we get out in another decade and even a little longer, really be significant decline in standalone movie theaters. The reason is that a lot of the localized, location-based entertainment in the home, so immersive entertainment experiences, holographic projection, not just the way that content is coming into the home via streaming, but it's in the display devices, in holographic projection, those kinds of things, actually going to make the entertainment experience much more viable and much more economical for individuals and families than movie theaters. So there's going to be, like a lot of things in society, as society evolves, movie theaters will eventually go by the wayside. 43. Hello, Sterling. My question is, will the documents case against 45 prove that he gave or sold classified information documents to other unfriendly entities? Yeah. This is going to take another 1 to 2 years to play out, but a lot of information will come out to the public as to where some of the documents ended up and the transactions that were behind it. I do see that. 42. Hello, Sterling. How bad will the bird flu situation be by early 2025? Will lives be lost? I see a vaccine being developed by the end of this year, going into next year. So I don't see a widespread problem with the bird flu that's going to be somewhat isolated. I do see some vaccines coming up. They're going to help with this. So my team's saying it's going to be modulated, managed. The whole situation is going to be managed. Maybe a few lives lost. Okay, that does happen, but certainly not anything that's like a wide scale pandemic, if this person is kind of asking for that reason. 41. Hello, Sterling and team. Back in the 90s, when I was in high school, I was carpooling home from gymnastics practice one evening, a couple of towns away, with 3 other girls. About halfway home, 4 orbs of light appeared outside above us, moving in a circular motion while at the same time coming together, then separating repeatedly. The lights stayed near us the rest of the way back home. We had a meeting spot where the younger girls' parents would meet us to take them home. Once we were there, the lights stayed with us at the spot. And when the first girl left with her mom, there were suddenly only 3 lights remaining, and then again down to 2 lights when the next girl left. Once it was just my friend and I left at the spot, 2 light orbs remained, still moving in a circular motion together. I suddenly became afraid. I yelled at them, "Hey," and they immediately disappeared. Could you please tell me what or who my teammates and I were visited by that evening so long ago? These were family members on the other side. These actually were orbs. These were family members connected to you, really just more concerned for your safety. So it must have been something in that whole situation that concerned them from the other side. Remember, when you're on the other side, you can actually, access akashic records, see what's going on. So a little bit of a concern for your safety, and that's what that was all about. It's nice that they made themselves so well known to you, but this wasn't extraterrestrial. This is actually related directly to your family. Okay, 40 in the countdown. Hello, Sterling and team. What do you see in the political future of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer? Will she ever take a run at the White House or become a cabinet secretary? I don't see her involved in a White House presidential run, if that's the first question. I don't see that. Um, it does look like she'll be offered some sort of a cabinet position down the road, but I do not see her making like a presidential White House run. 39. Hello, Sterling. My question is about near-death experiences, or NDEs. I find these fascinating. I've read many accounts of survivors. This year, I had a health catastrophe that resulted in over a week of intubation and many more days in intensive care. I survived, but I did not have a near-death experience or NDE. It made me wonder, do all souls have these experiences or just a select few? Do all souls pass into an afterlife or are some just obliterated? No, good question. I'm glad you're asking the question. So NDEs are a very specific experience. So it's something that's part of your life path. It has to do with the degree in which you pass to the other side. And near-death experience, by its very definition, means you're not crossed over. It's not your exit point. So not everybody, when they're, let's say, in a comatose environment or something, will have, let's say, an NDE. It's a very specific type of a life path, lesson, life path experiences on your blueprint. When you do pass over, everybody passes over, and you get met by your birth angels. You start seeing other localized family members, and you actually then move out more of a unique soul family. But NDE is a very specific experience that not everybody is going to have, depending on your medical condition. Certainly, a lot of people sometimes that maybe in a massive car accident and it's not their time, will get turned around. They'll have an NDE, crossover. It's not your time. Family members will have their backs to you. Time to come back. So hopefully that helps. Not everybody's going to have an NDE, but that has no direct relationship on what happens when you actually pass, when it's your real exit point. 38. Hi, Sterling and team. House Speaker Mike Johnson says the Supreme Court should step in and overturn 45's hush money conviction. Do you see this happening? No, I don't. I don't see them getting directly involved, and I also don't see them having any kind of direct involvement until we get out into next year. So, for some reason, the Supreme Court will try to get engaged around that decision, but it doesn't look like anything that's immediate, and nor does it appear the Supreme Court will overturn that conviction, because we're talking about yeah, the most recent court case he had with a hush money trial. 37. Good morning, Sterling and team from Sydney, Australia. When we die, what is the usual time frame for souls to begin to reincarnate back to Earth? I'm wondering, have souls return like in days, weeks, or months? In general, and I talk to a lot of individuals on the other side, most individuals don't come back any faster than 80 to 100 Earth years. Now, that's not the same for everybody. Some people might come back in 20 or 40 years, but predominantly a lot of people in Earth time, about 80 to 100 years. Now, it's a little different. I've talked about before when there are mass soul crossings like 9/11, Holocaust, major plane accidents. A lot of times those represent soul groups, and they usually do come back much faster. It's almost like a contract they sign. We're all going to come back now and help the world. So a little different, but it's certainly, I've never seen it in days, weeks, or months. Highly, highly unusual. I've actually never seen that. 36. Hi, Sterling and team. I believe humans on Earth have great capacity for love. How does this compare with extraterrestrials? Are extraterrestrials love-focused and loving, or are they mostly in their heads and involved mostly with scientific pursuits? Well, they all come completely focused around love and expanding humanity, expanding life on Earth in peace. The whole universe, you heard me say this probably before if you watch the channel, only runs on two energies, love and fear. Humanity spends an awful lot of time on the fear side. The more you become evolved, whether you're extraterrestrial or you're an old soul coming back hundreds of times on the earth, you actually do lean into the love side of the equation. Love is about peace, wanting the best for everybody. So a lot of extraterrestrials that I've dealt with over the years, over many years, are highly focused on kind of moving humanity forward. That's in the love side. It's not that they're just in their heads. They're very purposeful, but it comes from a very disciplined and love side. 35. Dear Sterling and team, I know you've answered questions about MTG, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? But here's a new one. She seems to be heading toward an emotional or mental crisis. Are her conflicts drug fueled? Is she placating or just unstable? For entertainment purposes only, this appears to be what I'm going to call a personality disorder. So something about the way she's approached life for many, many years. My team's not a doctor, just play one on TV, but they're classified as like a personality disorder. So this is something that's not, it's like long term. It's not something that just happened overnight or a shift in some sort of a personality right now or medical condition. 34. Hello, Sterling. I've heard of the group, the new apostolic, okay, Reformation, NAR. Do you see them growing into a group that will take or have a serious impact on our politics over the next 5 to 10 years? No, my team saying this is all part of what was called, I guess, also in part the Seven Mountain Mandate, where individuals, maybe that's even part of the Project 2025 plan. This all kind of goes together in the same kind of methodology. But like the Seven Mountain Plan was taking over various areas of government and education and religion, stacking the deck with very radical right-wing people. No, it doesn't look like even what's called the ZNAR. Looks like it's going to be kind of put back in the box, so to speak, and really having kind of a life as we go forward here. It's always going to be an element in society, but it's not going to have a major force in society. 33. When will Jim Jordan be indicted with the rest of the MAGA congressmen? It looks to me like a lot of these will start getting indicted as we get out into 2025. So there's a little bit of a hang back here, I'll call it, with a lot of other cases being dealt with, and then a lot of these other congressmen. We get down to 2025. 32. Hi, Sterling from Philadelphia. Here we have a beautiful university in our city called University of the Arts. It has a history of over 150 years and is a major part of what we call the Avenue of the Arts, home of the Kimmel Center, Academy of Music, etc. Last Friday, in a stunned announcement, they said that University of Arts will be closing its doors for good on June 7th. This, of course, sent everything into turmoil. Students are being left stranded. Our Temple University just issued a statement that they are in discussions to see if they can merge with another school and put this genie back in the bottle, per the Temple chairman. Will this be successful, both saving a 150-year-old institution and the Avenue of the Arts? It appears they're going to be able to eventually keep the university open, but this is going to be a rough year. It's almost like a 1 year in process. So, I mean, there's big disruption here around students, but looks like there's new financing and new investment, like new major donors coming in to help save this university. But it's like my team's saying it's about a year in process here for all this dust to settle. But it looks like eventually, they're also saying there'll be like a new president installed here with the university, which is all going to be part of this. I mean, this president helps bring in the new investment, the new significant donors. So I don't see it closed for good forever, but kind of a rough year, kind of resizing everything and restructuring a new president. 31. Does 45 have any health issues where he won't make it to the election? No, and I've read on this before, no significant health problems. I mean, he's not a healthy man, but I don't see significant health problems that stop him from getting to the November election. And he will be the GOP nominee on the ticket. 30. Will Claudia Sheinbaum, looks like, be able to remain safe as Mexico's first woman president? Wow, this is a good one. Because this is a highly dangerous, this is a very dangerous situation here. So I'm very concerned about her long-term well-being in that position. I want to leave it at that because I really want the best for everybody, but it's a highly volatile, she's in a highly visible position. And I'm going to tell you that there's a cartel that is going to be a real problem for her. A number of cartels in Mexico, but there's one specific cartel that she's going to be very, very careful of. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to send a lot of love and light to Claudia, and I want the best for certainly Mexico as well as her and her family and the entire government there. 29, High Sterling team. There will be elections soon for the European Parliament. Right-wing parties are all on the rise, it seems. Will they win the election? It does look like there's like a big right-wing push coming through a lot of European elections. It does look that way. I know I read on I think Rishi Sunak. It looks like there's a special election coming up. It's July 7th. I'm just going from memory here, but I did see him winning re-election. I know it's all very controversial, but it looks like there are other, kind of right-wing type movements. I think Rishi Sunak is more like what they call center moderate. I'm not an expert in politics over there, but aside from Rishi Sunak winning here, being more center moderate, it looks like other right-wing groups are going to start winning election, kind of across Europe. 28. What was behind the fire at Putin's home in Siberia? Well, the fire, I get, was intentionally set to kind of make to make Putin feel very unstable because it feels like this home that was set on fire was what I'm going to call his doomsday bunker. So a place they feel safe and get away from any kind of major catastrophe. But it looks like to me that it was intentionally set. Yeah. 27, hello, Sterling team. When spirits watch us and are with us, how do they see us? Is their perception like human eyesight? Yes, they see us in the human form. It's almost like looking at a movie. They actually can see us in the human form as we walk around. They can also see our spiritual and our soul side. So it's kind of like being able to look through almost like a transparent person. Like you could now you see them in their human form, but you can actually see kind of what their soul's all about. Absolutely. Okay, 26 in the countdown. What do you see for the success of Senator Whitehouse's bill to create meaningful changes to the ethics of the Supreme Court? I see in 2025 that this bill will become law. So whatever bill is being pushed forward, like an ethics law for the Supreme Court, will in fact become law as we get into 2025. And then all the Supreme Court justices will be beholden to it. And I'm also seeing that there's going to be some penalties integrated into the law. So it's like expulsion or something of that nature, being able to be removed from the Supreme Court if certain ethics guidelines are not followed. Yeah, it looks like we're finally going to get some sort of a semblance of justice around the Supreme Court. 25, I was wondering what causes spontaneous combustion in humans and what is the spiritual meaning or lesson from it? It's just such a strange phenomenon. I get when I've read this before, it's like a buildup of glucose and methane gas in the system, and it always has an external combustion source, even though people don't always acknowledge it or realize it. But it's a buildup of certain gases, glucose and methane gas, and then an external ignition source then triggers it. So it is part of a life path, which is kind of interesting. So it's, somebody, for example, the way they live their life or what things they consume, foods or alcohol or drugs or whatnot, all those things contribute to certain types of metabolic functions in the body. So it's part of a life path. It's very interesting, but it's my team has always said it's not necessarily just spontaneous. There's always an ignition source somewhere. 24, hi Sterling team. Do our pets have guardian angels or guides of any sort? Yes, all living entities on the planet have some sort of guide, birth angel. They always have somebody helping from the other side. Absolutely, animals, in this case, we're talking about pets or animals, absolutely have guardian angels, birth angels, working spiritual guides. 23, Sterling team, my question is about the upside down trees with the roots in the air on an island in Alaska. Also, they have been seen in other places around the world as well. Who placed the trees like this? Was it Sasquatch? And why do they do this? Was it done by humans? If so, why? Or is it natural like a tornado or something like that? I'm getting from my team, this is just a natural genetic mutation of certain plant life. So no, it wasn't like Sasquatch or Bigfoot. They planted them upside down. But this is like a natural progression in nature, genetic evolution of some kinds of plants. So yeah, it may look for highly unusual, But what you're looking at visually isn't necessarily what it seems like, that somebody took a tree and planted it upside down. Genetic mutation, genetic evolution through history. 22. Will Jim Comer win re-election? No, it looks like he'll be replaced in 2025. Or if it's like, so the election is 2024 for him, looks like he'll be replaced in 2025. 21. Hi, Sterling and team. I first want to thank you for encouraging us to connect with our angels and guides. It has truly changed my life. My question is, what is the best way to thank our guides and angels? You just did. So intention is what it's all about. Words aren't always that important. Your intention, your thoughts, what you put out to the universe. So oddly enough, when you ask the question, what's the best way to thank our guides? Your intention already created that gratefulness and thankfulness right then. 20. In 1997, I heard on the TV people talking about their miracles. I was getting ready to go out to lunch with my husband and my 6-month-old son that has a congenital heart defect. For some reason, I blurted out loud, "Where's my miracle for my baby?" At lunch, a very out of place stranger came up to speak to me. He said he would be back. He had something for my baby. He disappeared, came back, and gave me a stuffed heart and a bear and told me my baby would be all right. He was in blue jeans and a sleeveless white t-shirt with Harley Angel wings on it. The waitress asked if we knew him. She said he had come to that bar, but didn't order anything. After many years, I still remember this man's eyes. Who was this person? This is what's called an earth angel, and there are millions on the planet right now. They're highly connected to the other side. So they're almost like, think about them almost like a police department with a radio call. We need support over on First and Elm. So this is an earth angel. They're highly connected. They know when they have to go and take care of it, help somebody. So it's almost a call out from your angels and guides to the universe, to his support team that called you over. I see there's a lot of earth angels. They're human people, but they actually very highly evolved, very old souls. That's what you experienced. 19. There are times that I feel completely lost on what I'm here to do. Am I learning the lessons I'm supposed to learn? Am I on the correct path? We never get off of our life path. I talk about that all the time. But free will interacts with your life path in 3 different ways. It controls the speed you move through your life path, the scope of achievement, and the scale of achievement. So how fast you move through your life path? Does it take you 10 days, 10 months, or 10 years to get through certain things you're supposed to accomplish? In terms of scale, do you affect 10 people, 10,000, or 10 million people? And scope. Do you cover one topic of healing or 12 topics of healing? There's actually, you never get off your life path, but those 3 elements, speed, scope, and scale, as they kind of connect with free will, determine kind of how efficiently you move through your life path. So I think this person saying, am I learning the lessons I'm supposed to learn? Am I on my correct life path? You never get off your life path. You're always learning every day you're here. And every day we're all on earth. We're all in school. 18. Hello, Sterling. What can you tell me about Angkor Wat Temple? The Angkor Wat Temples in Cambodia. It has a place called 0 Point where all compasses stop at 0. What is special about this area electromagnetically? It's one of several hundred large magnetic energy centers on the Earth, and there are thousands of magnetic energy centers on the Earth. But this happens to be a larger magnetic energy center, so nothing kind of unusual as part of the physical principle, the way the Earth is constructed, that creates these magnetic energy centers. But a lot of people felt at peace there. If you're in a large magnetic energy center, you actually can feel more peace, calmer, and it looks like they may have built, I don't know, 70, 80 temples in this area, and covers hundreds of acres, something like that. So but that's, you'll find many areas like around where Stonehenge is built, and a lot of areas around the world were built around magnetic energy centers because people felt certain feelings in those areas, and extraterrestrials that actually helps with navigation systems as well. 17. Will the Republican Michael Ruley or Democrat Michael Kripchak, it looks like, win the special election for the 6th congressional district on June 11th in Ohio? It looks like the Republican Michael Ruley will win the special election. So that's what they're telling me. 16. Hello, Sterling. I recently lost my 88-year-old uncle who is calling Mama over and over again with his arms outstretched. He passed away a little over an hour ago. I lit a candle and the memories flood in. I know his mother came to be with him as he left his earth body. However, when you cross over, do we all see our soul family right away, or do we need time to adjust? As you pass over, you're normally guided almost immediately by one or several of your birth angels. As people that have NDEs, for example, will notice that they're being guided by somebody, but they don't look to the left or the right. They know someone's there. It's usually your birth angel helping to guide you. So usually guided across, and then you meet familiar family members that gave you comfort or friends here on Earth. And then as you move out into the larger, unique soul family. But it looks like his mother was definitely there trying to make him comfortable, getting ready to greet. Very common, by the way, as people get very close to passing, you have 1 foot in and 1 foot out of the other side. So you can usually start to see family members. Very common experience. 15. Hello, Sterling. You've mentioned many times that everything past, present, and future are recorded in the akashic records. Does that mean that the one source, one force planned everything throughout time before it was created? So you create the life path you desire in conjunction with the one source, the one force. So think about us being drops of water in the ocean. You certainly have an ability, but whatever you choose to do is in concert with everything else in the universe. So it's almost like developing a plan and getting the plan approved. So yeah, one source, one force. We're all connected through the one source, one force, like the ocean, and we're drops of water. But it's not that they really approve it. It's kind of all done as a collaboration, conjunction. Think about waves that move up and down. When you're all connected, if you do in physics, when you study wave theory, as waves go through, you can see that it's actually like particles rising and falling, even though a wave looks like it's moving like left to right. So think about everybody kind of rising and falling together. But you create the plan you want, but you're all connected. That makes sense. 14. Hello, Sterling and team. Can childhood abuse and trauma leave you with a negative entity attachment causing health issues even after you think you've healed emotionally? No attachments. So we can attract energy. That's very true. Just like when you walk through life, you can attract people that you either like or don't like, or what you put out, you attract back. This question is asking childhood abuse and trauma. They don't leave you with negative attachments, but they do leave you with emotional difficulty that you almost need to unlock. So a lot of times traumas get contained. Again, not a doctor, just play one on TV, but certain, I'll call it meridians in the body. It's almost like you pack them away in the body. And so there is a need to release them. Acupuncture can help, tapping, working with professionals. But usually traumas are the most important lessons we're here to learn. And when you're an older souls go through more severe traumas, but the reason they do is that it's almost like put me in, coach, I can take it. Now you learn the lesson, but before you leave the planet, you actually turn around and help others understand or learn from that lesson. So it's kind of a more severe way of going through training, but then you get through the trauma, you learn the lesson, and you help others. And all older souls that may experience more severe traumas, they usually end up speaking at events, doing TED Talks, writing books. So it's all part of a larger life path, but no necessary attachment per se, an evil spirit that's with you can't shake. It's all about kind of the baggage you're carrying as part of that. 13. Hello, Sterling and team. Do you have to see your family members when you cross over? Do we have to stay in the soul group, or can we change? Well, we're all part of a unique soul group of thousands of members. Now, remember, when you cross over, everybody's down here playing a role. So when you go back to the other side, you understand empirically what kind of soul energy they were. You don't have to spend time around any direct family members that you don't want to. There's a lot of free will on the other side. But you have to understand that you're going to see everybody even differently. People you may have conflicts with here on Earth, you see them differently when you cross over. Everybody takes off their actor's clothes. You actually see exactly who they are. So not forced to do anything on the other side, but you do enter into your same unique soul family. Remember, it's thousands of members. It's not just the 4 or 5 or 6 family members you had down here. 12. Hi, Sterling and team. Do you feel President Biden winning Florida and or North Carolina in the November election? It's interesting. It looks like he will win North Carolina and Florida. I know it might shock a lot of people, and even Georgia. So that's what they're telling me. Looks like people might be shocked, but that's what it looks like. 11, Sterling and team. 1 month ago, a mother orca and her 2-year-old calf were stranded in a lagoon on Vancouver Island. The mother perished, but fortunately, brave little Hunter, I guess that was his name, eventually was able to swim out towards the open water. A few weeks ago, members of her grandmother's pod were seen, but the freed youngster wasn't with them. Will she eventually be able to join her family? It looks to me like she's actually already rejoined a pod, I guess they call it, right? A pod, her family. It looks like she's actually already rejoined. So I'm not sure when this question was asked, but my team's saying already like integrated back into the family, into the pod. 10. Love and Light Sterling and Company. Will mathematics ever progress to describe ultimate reality, a series of proofs for the one source, one force? Do you see theoretical physicists finding a theory of everything, also referred to as unified field theory? The theory of everything will never be solved in an equation. The reason is there's a lot of infinite elements to the universe and the one source, the one force. So simply put, there'll actually never be one equation, one scientific equation that will actually describe the theory of everything in the universe, including the one source, one force, because there's a lot of infinite elements. I hope that makes sense to whoever asked the question, but I understand why you're asking the question. And I know it's a lot of physicists always talk about, unified field theory and the theory of everything getting down to one equation. It's the infinite elements that prevent that ever from happening. 9. Hello, Sterling. Can you please assess the mystery of Bouvet Island, an island near Antarctica that is highly isolated, covered by 90% of glaciers? Satellite images have shown waves radiating from the island, creating a blob on the map. I don't get anything special with this island other than the fact that it's highly remote, kind of off the coast of Antarctica. And it's 90% covered by ice and glaciers. So whatever blob you're referring to may have been kind of over exaggerated in social media or something of that nature. But it looks like they're climate change effects. They're creating some sort of ocean currents or something around there that make it look like a blob. But my team's saying really nothing spectacular going on over there. Very isolated island location. And there isn't really any extraterrestrial activity going on over there either. 8. Love to Sterling and team. I was wondering what the Florida skunk ape of the Everglades is. Is it a form of Sasquatch or extraterrestrial or unidentified ape? Yes, this is a form of Sasquatch, Bigfoot. There are many types of extraterrestrial Bigfoot, Sasquatch on the earth. There's probably almost a dozen different versions around the world of Sasquatch, but these are all shape-shifting extraterrestrials, and they've been down here for millions of years. 7. Hello, Sterling. In May, there was a report that 53 stars were found that could be the site of Dyson spheres and astronomical data. Will there be soon a discovery of these theoretical spheres built by an advanced ET species? I get extraterrestrials have built these very large spheres or planets over millions of years. Um, and they've done it to like artificially like hide black holes or portals or something. So these very large spheres, they're talking about 53 stars were found, Dyson spheres. A lot of them were created by extraterrestrials the size of planets or larger, and they're done to hide certain elements in the universe, black holes, portals, something of that nature. But yeah, these are all real. And the person's asking, could be the size of Dyson sphere. Well, I think that answers it. They're all created by extraterrestrials. Yeah. 6. Some climate scientists say that the heat in Texas and the South will be too hot for humans by the time we reach 2025. I live in East Texas, and is this prediction correct? No, but we'll see. Several degrees hotter temperatures every year that goes by. Might be go by half a degree, 2 degrees. We're going to see, gradual increase over the next few decades due to climate change, global warming, until humanity really starts to turn this around. But that's why my team has always said there's going to be an expansion of underground cities, underwater cities, things that will help certain areas of the world cope with some of the temperature gradients. 5, hello, Sterling and team. Will Pete Buttigieg ever be present? My Gen Z son and his friends love him, as I do. We'd love to see him in the Oval Office someday. It looks like it's very possible that within 5 election cycles, maybe something like 20 years, that he may in fact be in the White House. That's very interesting. My team's saying 20 years, like 5 election cycles here in the US. So looks like he may very well make it into the White House. 4, Sterling and team. Currently, Republicans outnumber Democrats in the House of Representatives. Kevin McCarthy's replacement has been elected, so possibly 2 more Republicans than Democrats. So my question is, what precipitating events will lead to the departure of House Republicans that will cause the Democrats to outnumber Republicans in the House and tip the scale so that Jeffries becomes House Speaker? I see new federal investigations and new corruption charges with GOP members that forces their hand, almost forces a resignation. So there's something coming up regarding new corruption charges, indictments that's going to help tip the scales. 3, hello, Sterling. The actor Terrence Howard has been talking about his knowledge of the flower of life. Number one, okay, this person, I guess, has like 5 different questions here. Number 1, is he a genius? 2, is he a hybrid? 3, is he right? 4, can he solve some of Earth's problems? 5, he states information comes to him at times in his dreams. So the flower of life is an ancient symbol going back millions of years. I think it's like 19 concentric circles or something like that. So that's true. But this individual is misguided in terms of what they're telling the public, in terms of solving Earth's problems. By the way, all of our guides and angels can communicate with us in our dream state. That's when you relax your logical mind. So I don't have any doubt that he has some communication with his angelic team, but we all do. But I'm getting my team saying he's very misguided on the things he's saying, and it's very spectacular. A lot of imagination going in here, and not a lot of truth in it. But the flower of life is real, but that's not something that has any kind of direct connection with Terrence Howard. Number 2 and number 1. So I always take notes before I start off the show for number 2 and number 1. So number 2, what do you see coming up this week? I do see new major efforts for a ceasefire in the Middle East and additional release of hostages. Remember, I still see Qatar behind the scenes, really getting involved in the negotiation of a ceasefire. And it looks like we're going to see dramatic results coming up, looks like this week to me. Second thing here, new court challenges across several cases for 45 involving the documents case and January 6th trial. So new charges coming up. Possible immunity ruling by the Supreme Court and passing it down to lower courts. We could see a trigger. I don't know anything about the timetable of the Supreme Court, but my team's saying a potential like immunity ruling here very, very soon. But I've talked about the 3-tiered approach they're going to take on other shows here. New drug development for children with diphtheria. There's an extension of COVID virus vaccines. So kind of interesting. I don't know why they were talking about this, but I know very little about, I'm not a doctor, about diphtheria in children, but there's some new medical breakthrough vaccine coming up for diphtheria cases in children. New criminal involvement and prosecutions for 5 individuals involved in 45's insurrection and documents cases. It's like 5 additional individuals coming into the press here. They're going to get indicted or pulled into this whole thing. So looks like it's going to be an active week. And number 1 in the countdown, do you have anything your guides want to share? Tell someone that you have not talked with in a while that you love them. They could use the message today. And so, that note, that concludes our session, our show today for June 9th, 2024. As always, if you need to reach me, go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the book a session tab. Again, I think we have dates in December of this year still available, and then January and February 2025. So it's all going very quick. Again, if you'd like to join our Platinum membership and join in the live streams on Fridays at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time, very easy to join the Platinum membership. There's a join button on the homepage of YouTube, as well as our website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. So I wish everybody a wonderful week, a lot of goodwill, and sending out tremendous love to you and your families. Take care. I will see you all again very soon.